Good Sunday morning. Welcome to Inside Tennessee along with my colleague John North. I'm John Becker. Happy New Year, everyone. And John, right out of the gates on this 2025 prediction show, you have one.
My prediction is new theme music in 2025. And if you have any suggestions, we welcome them. If you have any samples you want to send them, we welcome them.
Thank you, John.
Something better than what we've been playing.
If you'd like to write your own, that's the best, because then we don't have to pay for the copyright.
There you go. Don Bosch is a regular panelist. He's a Democrat, runs his own law firm. Susan Richardson Williams is a Republican. She runs her own PR firm. And if you watched last week, you learned who their politicians of the year in 2024 happened to be. If you didn't watch that show, I encourage you to go back and watch it. It will enlighten you based on what they predicted would happen and what did happen. So guess what? This is where the crystal ball comes in handy. Right?
Yeah, it's a little foggy this year.
It is a little foggy. So we're going to do local, state, national.
Maybe not the same national politician of the year as 2024.
That's probably true.
That's probably very true.
So as we like to do, as is tradition, let's start at the local level. And Don, we'll start with you. Who do you think will be the local political winner in 2025?
Local in 2025 in terms of politics is going to be a formation year as people start to gird up and get ready for 26 and elections. But I think it's going to be Larson J. as he increases his visibility in his efforts to run and become the next county mayor. Larson, of course, is a friend of everybody on this show and know him. And albeit he's a Republican, but he is my friend. And that said, I think Larson is doing all the right things to position himself to have a chance of being our next mayor. And he'll do a good job of that in 25, I think.
Has a big fat war chest right
He
now.
does.
Already.
Yes, he does.
Out early because the election's not until 2026.
Yeah.
Well, and he originally had an opponent, Mike Hammond.
Yeah. And he will have an opponent, and maybe in more than one, but he's doing a good job of getting ready.
Susan, your winner of 2025 at the local level will be?
I think it's going to be Randy Boyd. This is a guy who has changed downtown, the old city. He and his whole family actually have just revitalized the old city, and we'll see the Smokies Stadium open in April, I think.
You just want a little Hobbit house.
Yeah. Well, his sons have also done a lot in the old city, but Randy, not only is he president of UT and 5-year contract,
little side part-time gig,
piece that he has, but he really has done wonders for our community. And so I think 25, we're just going to see an enhancement of his philanthropy and his business development. We've got condominiums and all kinds of development down around the stadium. Somebody told me they've already sold out the condos down there.
I believe that to be true.
Yeah, and so, I think Randy's just done an incredible job for our community.
How about the loser of 2025?
Well, that one was difficult too, but I thought about what we found out in 2024 was the county's debt has pretty significant, because we had bonds that I think Mayor Ragsdale took out many years ago that are now coming due. The county has not, they've only paid interest and not principal.
It was a balloon payment.
It was a balloon payment, and there's $823 million projected debt. That's the highest actual debt number that county's ever seen.
And it'll get refinanced, I suspect, and redone. But
at some point, the taxpayers might be on the hook for this.
So that will be the person who bears the brunt of that. Is
it could be.
Who is the loser?
Well, I'm going to blame Mike Ragsdale.
Okay. Okay. He'll give you a call for sure.
Yeah. Well, it's not Glenn Jacobs, because he's inherited this.
And it wasn't Tim Burchett before that. Right. I mean, they both inherited it. And it's not going to be whoever the next mayor is.
All right, Don, who's your loser?
I struggle with this too, and I took a look around the landscape and who's out there, and I believe it's going to be Andy Fox in South Knoxville. I think he is so extreme. He won a very, very close race, and County Commission. I think that he is just going to show his stripes, and it's not going to be terribly well received in a community that's proving to be, for the most part, a little more thoughtful, and he might not reflect both his district's values and certainly the values of Knox County.
How about the issue of the year?
Similar to what Susan was just talking about, I think the issue is going to be the stadium is going to come online in the subsequent, and development around it, both the retail development, restaurant development, apartments, condos. It really has revitalized a piece of town, and it's going to come all online in 2025 and this year.
Same, very same thing. I think development, we've seen a lot of people moving to Knox County and to the city, and we do have some serious issues with housing.
Affordable housing.
Affordable housing, and there's been some pretty controversial things that have been approved recently for downtown on Front Street down there, Front Avenue. And
well, you're talking about a large building that's going to block a lot of views. Our friend the Lions, friends that are not happy having living down there.
I think if you're in that building, you're not going to be very happy. You're going to have a building in front of you blocking your view of the river. But we need more housing in Knox County.
We need more affordable housing. We have plenty of housing if you can afford it.
Yeah.
John, we'll lobby and see if we can do this show like on the pitcher's mound in the middle of the stadium this time.
We could get it to retract and
I'd
then
love
up, down,
that.
up,
Right
down,
up
up,
and
down. That would be fun. Yeah, it would be fun if we could sort of do a show from that stadium. Hint, hint. By the way.
Well, we all kind of have relationships with Randy Boyd.
do.
Maybe we can make that happen.
It's going to be a big one. Well, we'll be back with their predictions at the state level. That is coming up next. We hope you stick with us here on Inside Tennessee. We're back on Inside Tennessee. We're barely into 2025, but guess what? Don and Susan are predicting what's going to happen the rest of the year.
It's frightening.
Yes. So let's go to the state level, and Susan, we'll start with you first. Who is going to be the winner at the state level for 2025?
Well, this will not surprise you because I always say he's the most powerful politician in Tennessee.
I'm already writing
But-
Cameron Sexton.
Cameron Sexton.
Speaker of the House.
You know, he had kind of a rough 2023. We had the Tennessee 3, the expulsions and all
And you
of
still
that.
predicted him for things in 2023 that were good, and you're
Yeah.
going to do it again in 2025.
I am because I do believe he is still the most powerful politician in Tennessee, and I think he's had a good bit of redemption following the expulsion issues. And he traveled the state last year. He got reelected overwhelmingly as Speaker, and I just think he's going to have a very lead role this year in vouchers, all of the stuff the governor would like to see passed. And so we'll see, but I'm going to stick with Cameron Sexton.
How about you, Don?
I think whoever wins the state Democratic chairmanship, the Dems have a lot of work to do. They've had a lot of work to do for a few years, but I do think the tide is beginning to turn ever so slowly, and I think that's an important race, and I think that person will, and it very well could be Gloria Johnson.
She said she wants it.
She wants it, and I think she'd do a fabulous job, and so I think who wins that is going to be my winner for the state.
Couldn't she also use that as well for any future ambition she has?
Yes, I think Gloria's got a future beyond her current role in the House. I'm not sure what direction that is yet, but she is well thought of.
Arguably, she's made more friends in high places outside the state of Tennessee than she has inside.
Because there are only 8 Democrats left here right now, so we're doing our best.
You know,
We're making more.
Having said that, it's really interesting to me that there are no rural Democrat
We talked about this the other day, yeah. John Mark
rules.
Wendell was the last.
Yeah.
And they're all urban Democrats now, so, you know, whether it's Knoxville, Chattanooga, Nashville, Memphis.
I don't want to take us totally off the roadway, but Haywood County, Tennessee is one of only 3 counties that voted for the Democrat in the 2024. I don't know who represents Haywood County, Tennessee, but
It's a Democrat right now, Johnny Shaw.
isn't.
Well, so one might argue that's rural.
It is rural,
So-
but they don't count him for some reason because I think it probably goes into part of Memphis as well.
Right, it touches Memphis.
Republicans still have a supermajority, a walkout majority.
He loves telling that.
One day, fellas, it's all going to change. Maybe
The
not this
pendulum
day.
does swing.
It
We'll
does.
be in the
Sometimes
nursing
very
home
slow.
when that happens.
Probably
Very
so.
slow.
All of us.
All right, Don, who will be your loser at the state level in 2025?
Governor Bill Lee over the vouchers issue. I think for the 3rd time it's going to fail. It's a signature piece of legislation that he's tried to push every year that he has been governor, or nearly every year. and I think it will fail yet one more time. He might get a little piece of something or a little test program, but I think Bill Lee envisioned that statewide we'd have sort of Wild West vouchers, whoever wanted them for whatever reason, so parents could have the quote choice, and I think it's a terrible idea, but I think it's going to fail because I think a lot of Republicans think it's a terrible idea too.
Especially rural Republicans.
And there are plenty of those.
There are.
Susan,
and we have a lot of those.
You're a loser at the state.
Well, I'm really having a hard time with this one, but I think maybe just the Democrat Party in general. I don't care who they elect. They're in such a minority, as we've just discussed, that I don't see how they're going to come out of this in 2025, regardless of who is elected as Gloria or another state rep that's running as well. But when you have so few members in the House and the Senate that you really are irrelevant, and they really are.
But the state chair does more than just deal with Nashville. They deal with local races. They deal with municipal races. And we've got Democratic mayors in the 7 biggest cities.
They do have the mayors.
There's a presence in this state, and so whoever the next chair is, they've got to expand on that. So I'm not prepared to agree in the slightest, as you might imagine, that that's a loser. We are losing in the state legislature, no question, but there's work to be done, and there are good things that can happen.
Well, as a former state party chairman, your biggest job is recruiting candidates.
That's right.
And raising money, both of those things, and that it's not an easy job. So no. I don't envy those who are running, particularly running as a Democrat Party chair.
90 seconds to talk about your prediction of the issue that will dominate the state levels.
Well, it probably will be vouchers. I think the other thing is transportation, simply because we have Hurricane Helene, and we've got bridges, we've got roads washed out, we've got so many issues, and tons of money that's needed, state and federal money that's needed to repair
And the budget is thin.
The budget is very thin.
Boy, you just hit. I think the issue for me is the state revenue returns, and I think that bubble is about to burst a little bit, and we are going to be, for the first time in a number of years, in a position where the revenues are not going to be very good, and we're going to have to go, gee, we didn't have such a good year. And the question is, do we get into our very large rainy day fund to deal with a lot of pressing issues that are going on in our state right now?
The latest economic report from the University of Tennessee makes that point.
That's right. It's sobering, and it says, and you enjoyed the good times that Tennessee had for a few years,
here we
but
go.
We're going back to something else that we're more used to.
We're going to come back on Inside Tennessee with more predictions at the national level. We hope you stick with us, and we hope you're having a great start to your Sunday morning. Back on Inside Tennessee, Happy New Year. My colleague John North, Susan Williams, Don Bosch talking about their predictions for 2025. We're at the national level. Don, let's start with you. You're a winner at the national level in 2025.
I have a strange pick, and people are going to think about it, but I hope. But he has been set free, and that is Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell is part of the no Trump wing. He does not like Donald Trump. He has bucked him, but he has had to play along as the party leader in the Senate. Now the Republicans are in control. He's there for 2 more years. He's made that clear. There is a group of Republicans that want to push back and feel like they can on Trump. And Mitch McConnell is going to lead that group. And remember, there are, I guess, 47 Democrats in the Senate right now. You've got to have 60 to pass something. And so Mitch McConnell, not only will he ensure they don't get to 60, he sometimes might be able to drag 13 Republicans along on some crazy something or other that Trump may want. And it's going to be an interesting inter-party battle. And I think Mitch McConnell, he's going to get a little wild, and might be really fun to watch what happens.
Murkowski might be in there too.
Yeah, Murkowski and Collins, right, and there are some reasonable, thoughtful Republicans. I still often disagree with them, but at least you go, well, they're not trying to be bombastic. And there's a group, we're going to see them emerge under, I think, Mitch McConnell's following.
Susan, your winner.
Well, he could be the winner or he could be the loser, but it's Elon Musk. The man who has stepped forward, and many in
our own little oligarch,
your little party, are calling him the president already. But he's certainly,
I think it's more like Alania.
He's certainly powerful at this point in time. We'll see what happens. But this is the guy, Tesla, SpaceX, Twitter, and X now formerly known as Twitter. He's really revolutionize some things in this country. And I am very hopeful between Elon and Vivek Ramaswamy that they will be able to actually make a difference in the bureaucracy of the federal government.
Care to put any money on it that they really will? Because I don't think they will.
I agree. We've had so many commissions historically, if you look at politics, and they
Al
end
Gore
up
tried to do that back a long time ago.
Well, they just it's saber rattling on whatever side you're on, and they have very little power, and ultimately don't.
And
get
how
anything
quickly will Trump fall out with?
Well,
most?
that's the question.
We've
What
already
happens?
we saw just a hint
Yeah.
where at the end of December.
better not get more popular than me.
him.
Which we know is not. He won't
Yeah.
accept that. I'll be like,
Never
oh, no,
has.
you're
No,
done.
that's what I said.
You're
He
done.
could be the loser, or the winner. We'll have time will tell. But if he becomes more popular than Trump, yeah, he'll be out.
So who is your loser?
My loser, surprisingly, would be Speaker Mike Johnson. I don't see him surviving this year. We saw a couple of weeks ago with the CR what was happening.
That's going to be a good one to revisit in next year.
Yeah, it will be. But we've got that group that Tim Burchett has been part of that ousted Kevin McCarthy, and there is a very strong group in that. You don't have to have many votes if you're with the Democrats with their 215 and a few Republicans to change the speaker. And so I just think it's going to be very difficult for him to hold that group together when you only have a 5-vote majority.
Yeah, we think it'll be Hakeem Jeffries in 2 years anyway. So,
How
We'll
about your
see.
loser, Don?
well, they always said that being vice president was like getting a warm bucket of spit. I think paraphrasing. I think it's going to be J.D. Vance. I think he is. He's an interesting fella. He is articulate, although it says some terrible things, but does it with a flair. And I think Trump is, like Susan suggested with Alania Musk, he is going to fall out of favor with President Trump, and Trump is going to put him on the bench. And he is not, unlike vice presidents for a long time, since Clinton, where they've had a meaningful role in the administration. I don't think J.D. Vance is going to have much of one.
How about your issue of 2025?
Can Trump keep any of his campaign promises? Is he going to force deportations for 7 million immigrants? Is he going to lower the cost of groceries and rent? Is he going to do any of these things? Is he going to end the wars? Is he going to impose tariffs and it's going to cause prices to drop? It's craziness economically when you study it.
Take back the Panama Canal.
Take back. Oh, that's great. We're going to go invade Panama. Yeah, that happened a couple of weeks ago. I don't think he's going to be able to do any of this. And anybody with much sense, Republican or Democrats, like, yeah, let him ramble. He'll get a couple things through, but it's not going to happen.
Susan?
Yeah, I agree with all of the things Don said. I think
Write that down.
certainly think the border and the immigration and what happens with that early on, because he says he's going to do something on day one, which is a couple of weeks away. So we'll see pretty quickly what he can do, and then he's going to have to do something with the economy. I mean, he was elected on that. He says he's going to take care of inflation and lower prices, and I think one thing he will do is deal with the energy situation. We'll probably see gas prices. They're already dropping, quite frankly. I noticed yesterday there was $2.33.
You know, though, from experience, campaigning is a lot different than governing.
Governing,
That's right.
You get elected, and then unfortunately
Trump
you have
knows
to
how to
govern.
campaign, but he
He's a
hasn't
great
demonstrated the ability to govern.
What if he pardons all the January 6 rioters?
Well, that's very possible. I think he said he will do it.
I think that that's going to come back to hurt him. Candidly, Biden's pardons, last year have not favored him very well, and I agree with most of them. But I'm glad he did, and I know this is controversial. The death row pardons, I think, were important. He didn't set them free. They've just been commuted to life sentences.
We've got to run, and we'll be back with our final block of predictions here, the politician and the issue of 2025. That's next.
Trump.
Okay, the crystal ball has been read, and yes, thank you. Yeah, Karnak.
Here it is.
Magnificent.
Yes.
Shish
What
boom ba.
a great segment. If you've never seen Johnny
Yes,
Carson,
everybody. We just lost everybody under 40.
I know we did.
Good job, guys.
100%
Good job.
we did.
Totally.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about the politician of the year in 2025. Your winner, Susan, is who?
Well, I think it's going to be Secretary of State Marco Rubio. And Don and I discussed this earlier and reminded me.
Don put a bug in her ear.
Yeah, he did, because I was having a difficult time with who that might be. But I like the fact that he is going to be Secretary of State if he can get along with Donald Trump and remain in that position. It's a big if, and remain in that position. I think he's the right person for that job, and certainly we need someone with a gift that can solve some of the problems we've got in the Middle East and Ukraine.
Let me just ask you, because you make a great point. Who do you think was the model cabinet member in the last Trump administration for getting along with him, but also getting things done that weren't necessarily
It wasn't the Secretary of State, because they
Never.
went in and out.
No.
Start with no. Gosh.
What about
Ben Carson?
What about
Maybe
Mnuchin?
Ben Carson? Ben Carson
Yes, Sonny
survived.
Perdue, Secretary of Ag, who I indirectly was able to speak with a couple times because we share a mutual friend, and he said Sonny Perdue, Secretary Perdue, just wanted to keep his head down and never have Donald Trump remember his name.
I think Ben Carson did the same.
Okay. Don, who will be your winner in 2025?
I've got two, and I'm not sure which one it will be, but I think one of them will emerge, and that is sort of the who's going to be the next early leader for the Democratic nomination. And I believe it's either going to be Gretchen Whitmer, the governor of Wisconsin, or Joel Shapiro, the governor of Pennsylvania. They're both very thoughtful, articulate, passionate politicians, passionate Democrats, and I think that one of those two likely may emerge, and they're going to be shined on favorably. We've now seen, unfortunately, the election cycle is now at least 3 years long.
All right, who is your loser?
Well, no, we didn't really do. Who would be our loser? You know what? I think the loser is going to be the United States Supreme Court. I think they're going to further diminish in their stature. They have taken a hit unlike anything we've seen in modern history, and I think it's only going to get worse, because I do not predict, unless there's health issues, that either Thomas or Alito, the most polarizing members of that court, will go out until 26. So. The Supreme Court.
It does seem that the Chief Justice has realized his worst nightmare, that the court is predictable and political.
Yeah.
He's chief only in title, and so he has lost control of this court. He's lost control of the momentum of the court, and I'm speaking as a lawyer that reads it. This is a different court. I've lived through the Rehnquist court. I lived through Scalia, who was a brilliant man, albeit very conservative. But this is not a healthy court, and it's going to be a very long time before we might be able to.
You said a minute ago, Joel Shapiro. Was that Josh Shapiro?
Josh Shapiro. I said Joel. Josh Shapiro. I'm sorry. Thank you.
Your loser, Susan?
Well, it could be one of many. Whoever crosses Donald Trump.
That's going to be a lot of people.
Elon Musk, Marco Rubio,
J.D. Vance,
J.D. Vance, anybody that gets the light shown.
Does
on
Tulsi
them.
Gabbard go? Does she make her job? Does he?
I don't know. Pete Hegseth might be the loser of this.
But Mark Burnett's probably safe because he's in television. So.
Yeah.
All right, 90 seconds to talk about the issues. Susan?
Oh my gosh. I think it's going to be the economy. Can he turn it around? Because he promised that we were going to lower prices and gasoline prices and all of that.
And what will be the proof that has happened? Is it those?
I think part of it would be if energy prices, really make a significant difference shortly. Soon after, if we get the pipelines back on and all of that.
The pipelines have never been off.
Well, they have, actually.
They haven't.
Okay, Bosch, minute.
Economy.
Economy.
Yeah, it's the economy. And listen, I don't think if Trump does anything like he's suggesting, I don't think the economy is going to improve. I think it's going to get worse. We might see some variable like energy costs go down, but groceries, rent, wages, availability, restaurant costs. I mean, great. He deports he deports a bunch of people. Restaurants, hotels, the hospitality industry is going to go south.
Well, home sales are already slow.
It is. I think the economy is going to be in dire straits for the next year or two with some of the Trump policies that he's trying to push.
Well, there's a lot of predictions that we're going to have inflation hit, soon after. So that would not
Remember
be good.
that, folks, when you vote. I'm telling you.
We appreciate you watching. Happy Sunday morning, and we look forward to more good conversations in 2025.